So start right out, what is Logix? So Logix is the combination of giving you the ability to program ControlLogix and CompactLogix Allen-Bradley processing units. It also gives you the ability to do guard logics if the controller has that safety capability built into it. All right, Studio 5000 is a single programming software that covers the entire Logix controller family. We're going to go through the different controller sizes in just a couple of seconds, but just know that this one software covers multiple. Historically, before a individual software would be tied to an individual hardware, such as a PLC 5 had RS Logix 5, PLC 500 or SLC 500 was RS Logix 500. Now we are putting multiple into one. And with the Studio 5000, it is just simpler and easier to use. It's more intuitive and has just more symbolic naming and better addressing for everybody. So it makes that transition pretty easy. The program is more intuitive. You have different faceplates that can cover different things now. You have graphical wizards, whereas before you had just drop downs. And really it supports more of a modular style program. So Rockwell and many Encompass partners will develop add-on profiles, so to speak. Those are built-in data structures that will have the ability to connect to, say, a PowerFlex drive. So a PowerFlex drive, you can add the add-on profile. It will generate all the tags needed, and then typically we'll have an add-on instruction assigned with that also, or faceplates. But add-on instructions and faceplates and user-defined types can also be created individually by users, which are smaller code snippets that will be executed repeatedly. That style programming never existed before Studio 5000, not in the Rockwell world at least. So the next little section here just kind of goes over the ability that you can have module diagnostics, trending, a quick watch, so the ability to quickly monitor and see multiple or lots of tags, their live value. This is really good for troubleshooting, especially for I/O, things like that. And then there are multiple languages set up inside Studio 5000. So with the general overview of what is 5000, we're going to go into the hardware. So 5000 is used to program any of the hardware we're going to list here in a second. So there are currently 3 styles or 3 product families for the CompactLogix. So there is the 5370, or more commonly referred to as the 1769 I/O or PLC. It has actually 2 different flavors inside that. So as you can see here in the top right corner, the very far right one here is specifically a L18ER, which means it has embedded I/O plus the controller and power supply. So they call that a packaged style unit, whereas the L3 here, or L30 series, has a modular style or a somewhat chassis style system. The next jump up from that is the newer platform, which is the 5380, or again commonly referred to as the 5069 platform. This one is our newest, latest, and greatest. It has gigabit Ethernet, dual Ethernet port that can be set up for separate IP addresses, or you could be the same IP, which is DLR, whereas the 1769 only had the DLR capability. It could never do 2 separate IP addresses. Its I/O cards are significantly smaller in form factor, and just overall enhanced security and diagnostic features are built into these new platforms. And then the 5480, which is also a 5069 series, but this one kind of stands out on its own because it has the ability to have a Windows 10 PC in the same chassis with the controller itself. So any of those times where you need that high-speed computation, or you need, say, an OPC server locally running or something along that nature, 5480 opens that ability up for people. The other platform that is used for Studio 5000 would be the ControlLogix. So it would be the 5570 or the L7 processing units, and then the 5580 which is the newer platform again, which is the L8 processing units. If you guys do have any specific questions with those, please feel free to reach out. But I just wanted to do a general overview of what hardware goes along with the software that we're going to be covering today. As always, so Studio 5000 has made it so that you can integrate safety, motion, and drive control. And it's one of the things that Studio 5000 has attempted to do, and I think does a pretty decent job at doing it, is it will integrate very well with itself, so to speak. So if in the event you have, a Kinetics drive or a PowerFlex drive, or any other Allen Bradley type stuff, even the switch, you could configure it to be integrated in with each other. So into the HMI, into the PLC, everything networks and communicates very well and is integrated well in the Rockwell family. So with all that said, everything that Rockwell has, for the most part, will use some sort of firmware. The package to deliver firmware has been updated, and it is called Control Flash Plus. It is a more intuitive, better design. So Control Flash Plus is now on its third version. But what it does is it allows you to download to multiple devices at once. It actually has an embedded algorithm to determine which devices will take the longest and which sequence would be the most functional while updating all the firmware. The other thing Control Flash Plus does for you is you can also see what the current revision is, and it hooks up to the Product Compatibility and Download Center, or PCDC, and that's where all your firmware resides, right? So now you no longer need to go to the website and download it and make sure you have it. If you have Control Flash Plus, it has the ability to tell you what you have locally and also connects to the Rockwell site for you in the event you want to change it to a firmware that you don't already have. So it just makes things a little bit easier, a little bit simpler, and much nicer overall in the long term. So that was just a brief overview of what Logix is, the hardware that is used or that is programmed with Studio 5000, and the firmware tool that puts the firmware into the hardware that we use.